Hello children and welcome to the first social science class of the session 2021-22. So I welcome all of you. So in today's session we will be discussing the first chapter of history, that is an approach towards the past. But before that, let me tell you, all of you must have seen the book, and your book is divided into three parts. Part 1 has the history lessons, part 2 has the geography lessons, and part 3 has the social and political life lessons. Lessons or chapters related to civics. So your book has three parts: history, geography, and civics. Fine. I hope this much is clear. And regarding the notebooks, we'll be needing one thin single line notebook for history, one similar notebook for civics, and one interleaved notebook for geography. So I hope this is also clear, and as and when you get the written work, you will do it in your notebook. Fine? Okay. So let us begin the first lesson, that is an approach towards the past. So as the name of the lesson indicate, the name of the lesson only indicates that here in this lesson, we will be talking about past, the time which is over, the time which is gone, right? Now, the first thing that we will discuss in this lesson is what is history, right? The main points, the main topics of discussion here in this chapter are what is history. Secondly, we'll discuss what is the importance of studying history. So why do we study history? We will be discussing this. What is the relevance? What is the importance of studying history? Further, we will talk about the division of the past, that the past time has been divided into two parts. So we will be studying about this division, and finally in this chapter we will be talking about the sources of history, right? So now let's begin with the first point, point for discussion in this lesson, that is what is history. So children, what do you mean by history? History is the knowledge that is gained from the study of the past, right? Whatever knowledge, whatever information we gain from the study of past, that is history, right? So we get information about our pastime, that is how people lived and what all they ate, what they wore, where they lived, right? The buildings, the houses where they lived, all these information. So basically where we get the information about the lifestyle of the people, the way of living of the people, and the detailed study, descriptive study of this is only known as history. So when we study history, we get to know our past, right? The knowledge, the information that we get about our past, that study is only known as history. So I hope this is clear to everyone, and the people who describe the past, they are known as historians. So who are historians? Those people who describe the past. They study about the past and they describe the past through their detailed study. They are only known as historians, right? Further, the next point that we'll discuss is what is the importance of studying history. So why do we, what is the importance? Why do we study history? Obviously to know our past. So history helps us to know about the old kingdoms, the ancient kingdoms, the dynasties. Children, I hope you understand the meaning of dynasty. Dynasty means rulers of the same kingdom, one after the other, generation wise, right? So we get to know the kingdoms, the dynasties. We also get to know about the great leaders and kings of the past. And apart from this, we also get to know about the lives and activities of normal, ordinary, common people, right? So not only do we get the information about the kings and their kingdoms, but we also get to know about the lifestyle of common people, right? Further, the knowledge gained from the study of history is important to understand both the past and the present. Children, if we don't know the past, how do we get to know the present? How will we understand the present? So, in order to understand the present, the knowledge about past is very important, and this is what we get to know from the study of history. History also guides people to set goals and tells them to, not to repeat those mistakes which they had done, right? So, history helps us to understand the mistakes and obviously guides us not to repeat those mistakes again. So it understands, apart from this, it also helps, it also helps to understand the continuous progress that humans have made. For example, a long time ago, during the ancient time, humans lived in caves. But do we live in caves? No. So this shows that we have made continuous progress. We have taken steps for progress each day, every moment rather. So history helps us to understand this continuous progress made by humans, and we also get to understand the basic nature of our society when we study the lifestyle of the people, the working, the culture, the way of living of the people. So obviously we get a clear picture of the ancient society, right? The way people used to live, right? So these are the importance of studying history. This is the reason why we study history. The next very important information in the book is Herodotus. He was a Greek historian, and it was he only who who gave the term history, right? So history comes from the Greek word. Herodotus was a Greek historian, and the term history comes from the Greek word historia, which means knowing or learning by inquiry. So, Herodotus, he was the father of history, and he only termed the name history, right? He only gave the term history. Next is the division of the past. So in this chapter we will also discuss, we'll discuss how past has been divided into two periods. One is prehistory and one is history. So prehistory is that part, right? That part of the past where we do not have any written account. Now, why we don't have any written account? Because humans did not know how to read and write during this phase. So, since man did not know how to read and write, so there is no written record, right? And the next period, the next phase is history, where we have all written records. We have all written account. So I hope this much is clear to all of you. Let's proceed further. So after understanding these two phases, these two periods, that is prehistory, where there is no written account, and history, where there is written account. Now let us proceed further to again an important point of discussion in this chapter, that is sources of history. So it's a very important question, that how do we get to know the past, isn't it? So we get to know about our past through these sources, right? Now again, these sources can be divided into two categories: archaeological sources and literary sources. So as the name indicates, the archaeological sources, these are those sources, these are those sources which include artifacts, monuments, coins, and inscriptions. So what are artifacts? Artifacts are the different objects made by humans in the past for their use. For example, we can say metal objects, tools for hunting and cutting and chopping, all these tools, then pottery and ornaments, jewelry, weapons and sculptures. All these come under the category of artifacts, right? Next, monuments. Monuments are all the old buildings which include temples, stupas, mosques, tombs, caves, palaces, and all old settlements. So they are again a very important source to understand the history, how people lived, their way of living, how they made houses and all, right? Next, coins. So coins again give us very concrete proof and concrete information about the past. So these are very valuable sources of information. These coins are made of gold, silver, copper and other metals, and they tell us about the economy of the kingdom, the periods of the rulers and trade activities which used to take place during that time. Fine. Further, the inscriptions. Inscriptions are also very, very important sources to understand the past. How? Because through these inscriptions, we have a written record, which are, these are the written records engraved on rocks, metal pillars, copper plates, cave walls, walls of temples and palaces, and even on clay tablets. So we have a written record which helps us to understand the past in a very clear way, right? So we'll wind up our session here. In the next session, we will be talking about the literary sources, which include religious literature and secular literature. So see you again in the next session. Thank you so much.